Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Developer Dynasty stream here on our Wolverine Studios Twitch channel. Very excited to be with you here tonight as we start First Access for Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2023. It is March. We love March here. I am a huge college basketball fan, of course, and so many in our community are such big fans of college basketball and obviously Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2023. So it is a great time of the year. It's we're leading up to the big tournament, the big dance, just a couple weeks away, and what better time to get this game out to everybody and let you get your hands on it. Thank you, as always, to our followers of the channel and our subscribers. We appreciate all that support, and we appreciate you kind of sticking with our on and off schedule here on Twitch as we just try to use this as an opportunity to give our community a chance to meet up with us once in a while and have our undivided attention for a little bit. So it's great if you can join the streams when we have the opportunity to run them, and I really enjoy being able to communicate with you guys and talk about what we're doing and talk about any questions you have and stuff like that. Don't forget, First Access is underway. As I mentioned, it will go through March 9th. The game is scheduled for full release on March 10th. So if you want to take advantage of that First Access discount and being able to get the beta copies, make sure you go to wolverinestudios.com right after the stream and grab your copy. Use coupon code COLLEGE through the 9th, and you can save 10%. All right, so let's get into some of the things for the game here. Of course, if you have questions, about gameplay mechanics, things like that, feel free to ask them, and I'll be happy to answer. One bit of news regarding the game: I saw that NCAA Hoops, one of our fantastic community members, has got his mod going already for College Basketball 2023. So if you are not into the fictional names and schools and stuff like that, and you want a real experience there, head over to our forums. Just go to wolverinestudios.com, click the forums option there, and you can find out how you can download that mod from NCAA Hoops. So huge thanks to him for handling that. Again, it makes such an impact for everybody in the community. There's so many people who just it makes the game so much better for all of them. Just a reminder, one of the big new things that we've added this year is this facilities budgeting management option, where it's split into training, amenities, and wellness. If you ever forget during the course of the year what you've assigned to those areas, or want to see where you rank overall in terms of against the entire college basketball universe, there you can go to the school info screen, and you'll see right down there on the left side it'll tell you how much you've assigned to spending in training, amenities, and wellness, and also your rank. So your rank is important because the better rank you are, the more impact that section will have. It's also based on your facilities rating. So if you go up toward the top, you can see our facilities rating is a C for the Rochester Hills Golden Bears. But you can see that we're in the top 100 in terms of facilities training, and the training option is, it puts a focus on developing your own players' skills and things like that. So it's really useful, I find, for being at a smaller school where we're not going to get big recruits anyway. So who cares about spending a lot of money on the amenity side of things? That's why we're ranked 292nd there. But the facilities training, that'll be a big help, especially for a school that you expect to keep players for 4 seasons. It's not going to be very often that you have a player leave from the early from a smaller school for the draft. So I find that a good use. The wellness is also a good use if you want to make sure you're keeping everybody happy. You're not gonna try not to lose players to transferring for personal reasons. Maybe they transfer because they want bigger opportunity or more playing time, something like that. But the more you focus on wellness, the more you're able to mitigate some of the the issues. If you want to know everything that's new, and you haven't really followed along much, you can go to our website, wolverinestudios.com, click the blog option up at the top, and we put up a blog today detailing, in really good detail, a lot of the new features and stuff like that. If that's something that you're interested in seeing, go check that out. You get a really good read through of everything. One of the biggest things is I'm going to go over tonight is the 2D play. I want to play a little bit of a game here tonight. So I'm going to go to the schedule screen here. You can see we are set up to play number 3 ranked Durham. And this little icon next to the game represents that it is a preseason tournament game. It is for the Coaches Classic. You can always click on this game preview icon here. This is kind of a fun thing. Now, obviously, there's no information right now because this is the first game of the season. But later on, it's kind of a fun preview of kind of the top players for each team, an injury report, team stats. You can also check out an over/under and the favorite of the game. Those numbers don't really mean anything. It's just kind of a guess by the computer as to what will happen. Don't forget also, prior to a game, if you go to your inbox, you have scouting reports. And you can always go back and view that scouting report. So let's do that right now. Let's take a look at the scouting report here for Durham. Their best player is Billy Thorne. Offensive style, fast-paced offense. Allows their players a significant amount of offensive freedom. Balanced attack with primary set being triangle offense. Defensive style, they rarely press, and mostly man-to-man defense. Matchup-wise, advantage, they have a clear advantage at point guard because Billy Thorne is an excellent player. Pretty close at shooting guard, power forward, and center. Between our players, they have an advantage at small forward in our bench. A slight advantage. I don't think that will help overall because I think we'll probably get run out of the gym in this game. But just in case, we might have an outside chance if we can get their starters into foul trouble or something like that. As I mentioned, this is a preseason tournament game, so you can go to the tournament screen always and see a list of all of the tournaments in the league. After you play through a season, it will list the defending champion there, so you can see who won it last time. You can always go into the almanac and check out prior champions. And I've redesigned all of the logos for the tournaments this year to kind of freshen that up, as well as the ones that we've added, the 5 new preseason tournaments to bring the total up to 19 preseason tournaments from 14. So there's all new logos, and I designed all new trophies for them as well. And of course, if you go back into that school info page and you ever click down to see if you won any of the trophies, you can see each trophy specific to the tournament. So you can always check those out. You can kind of see what you've acquired in your trophy case over time. The almanac also, if you click on the champions button, it will list all of the tournaments, including the conference tournaments and the final postseason tournaments. So you can always go back once you advance, a few years into your season, and check out who are the prior champions of all these tournaments. There's so much data, stored in the almanac here. It's a great way for you just to kill an hour of time looking through your league. Once you get some history in it, you can go back and kind of check out all of the the rankings over time, stuff like that. You can find out information about the schools and the conferences here, all of the records, historical standings, all that kind of stuff. You could spend a long time just looking through the almanac and kind of reliving your history there. But anyways, that's not what we're here to do tonight. We are going to play a little bit while we have this stream going. And of course, again, if you have questions about the first access process, questions about the game that you've already, if you've already been in first access and you have started playing, if you have questions about that, feel free to throw them in the chat box here. Breeze 837 in the chat box, welcome. Good to see Breeze. Don't forget, if you have created other jerseys and things like that and added them in, you'll be able to choose which jerseys you want to wear for the games. You can use any graphics program, Photoshop, whatever, and create jerseys and put them in the game, just like you can create courts and things like that. You really can do a lot with the modifications in the game to make it exactly the way that you want it to be. So let's go to the tip-off. I'm going to make sure I'll leave auto sub on for now. We will pause at the stops. No game sounds, especially for the stream here. Just scrolling through here real quick. The buttons, all these are button options up here. You'll have the first two are to call a full timeout, 30 timeout. You can work the ref. You can confront the ref. You've got options for your offensive strategies, defensive strategies, player matchups, and later on, when there's a dead ball, you can make subs, or there's a timeout strategy option here as well. In terms of game speed, I kind of like 7 or 8. That works out well for me. Offensively here, this one, you can choose from any of these offenses. If you choose auto switch, it'll rotate through them based on the preferences you set ahead of time. The same thing works defensively for your half court and your full court defenses to switch between those. So based on the settings that you set for your team strategy. And if you don't want to do that, if you find during the game that something is working well and you don't want to switch defenses, or you want to try to take advantage of something, whatever you set here, if I switch it to man-to-man, we'll always play man-to-man. We won't switch back and forth between different defenses. And if you have it on auto switch and you've only assigned like all 100% of your time to man-to-man, then that's what it's going to do anyways. So, but if you do kind of use different amounts of defenses, the auto switch will switch back and forth for you. You also notice the crowd images in the game. This works the same way as in the pro game. If it's a popular team or your team is doing well, there will be more people in the crowd. So for some of these small schools, like during the conference play, if it's two bad teams at a small school, there might hardly be any people in the crowd. So it'll kind of give you a realistic feeling of what's going on. Let's get ready. We'll start this game up, see what happens. You've lost the opening tip, and we are going in a 2-3 zone defense right now. Forced a shot there and a rebound. You can see above the benches, it will tell you which play call each team has used. We are running the flex offense right here against their man-to-man defense. Obviously, there's a nice bucket for us, and we've moved into our 2-2-1 press. So a quick start against the number 3 team in the nation. And we got to switch into our man-to-man defense there. There we go. Obviously, if you turn the game sounds and stuff like that, that'll be going too. I just didn't want to put that on during the stream, and we just gave up a 3 there. On the lower left, you've got the game cast. So if you've missed kind of the last 2 or 3 things that have happened, you're good there. There is a bad cross-court pass and a fast break, and now we're down 5-2, just like that. At the top, you see the momentum meter. That will help, kind of judge the flow of the game. If you see that getting too high in the other team's favor, you might want to call a timeout, try to break that momentum and stuff like that. So it's all very realistic in that aspect. It is, you make, we just hit a 3 there and we drop the momentum back to even. So the tide turns with different big plays. 3s are always good. Dunks, stuff like that, steals off of a press or a turnover, stuff like that. Always helpful. At the bottom of the screen, you can see that there's the energy levels for the players in the game. So you can kind of keep an eye on how well your players are doing. If they're tired and they need to come out. You have the amounts there for your timeouts and your team fouls and stuff like that. Obviously, following the real college basketball rules. And pass away there. As I said before in the streams, when I play, I like to try to build teams that are high press teams, stuff like that. So you'll see my team in a lot of presses here. Obviously, that's not going to be a great strategy against a top team, especially being a lower team. But if we don't get burned too much on it, then it might be all right. Let's see what is going on in the chat. Actually, I'm going to turn off pausing at stops so I can kind of pay attention to the chat too and see what's going on. Bill Dozer says there are some changes this year in terms of where some coaches are options are located. I coached my first game, but I usually click sim. Obviously, I redesigned this whole screen so that the court area was much bigger and a focus, so that we could really accentuate this kind of new 2D strategy. So in the past, there was always like the one thing on each side, depending on if you're a home or visitor. Now we've condensed that all to just one side on the left there, and really give you more screen room to kind of view the game, which really is the important thing here, because it's I wanted something that would be more exciting to watch than the old way where we just had the squares moving around on the screen. Hey, Doomjaw, first time chat. Welcome and thank you for following us. We appreciate that. We got a chat also from Keith Best. Do we get 2 keys if we pre-order? Yep, absolutely. All of our games, whether you pre-order or not, all of them purchased from us, always give you 2 keys for your own use on your own computer. So if you've got, you want to have one at home on your desktop, one on the road on your laptop, we always try to accommodate that for you guys. We know a lot of people might even sneak a game or 2 in at work sometimes, of course, only on your lunch breaks. And we want that to be something that you're able to do. So just remember, if you are switching back and forth between your computers, make sure you put your save on a flash drive or something so that you can transfer it back and forth. Or some people just have 2 completely different game universes that they play at home and then on the road or whatever, or on the train or the bus or anything that they're doing if they have a commute. Certainly understand that, and I think it's a great time killer. When you have the opportunity, especially since you can get if you sim, especially you can get through a lot of the season fairly quickly, and especially in college basketball, it's not it's a 30 game season. It's not 82 like in the pro game or stuff like that. So you can really move through seasons pretty quickly. And Doomjaw says the game is looking great. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am really pleased with what we've done, especially on the basketball side this year with the 2D, making it better. I know we're going to, kind of learn from this and see how we can even improve it for next year and beyond, stuff like that. And hopefully also bring some sort of thing like this to the football games as well, and give them a little bit more of a an interesting feel with seeing player icons move and things like that. So it's just something we continue to work on here at Wolverine Studios, try to make the products better over time every season. We appreciate all of the support from our community in doing that. So meanwhile, we are only down 1 here, 4 minutes into the game. That's pretty good. And again, if you like the speed to move a little faster, you can hit that button, the plus button up at the top, and you can move it a little faster. If you hit the 3rd button up there, the fast forward button, what that will do is it will pause all the action on the screen, and you can move everything. It'll like skip ahead. It still processes everything as it would. And I would recommend that if you do that, you turn on auto sub before you do that, and you switch your defenses to auto or something like that, because it will just kind of sim from that point. But then you can jump in at a later point in the game if you don't want to play the whole game, or you want to kind of fast forward through the first half and see what the game's looking like, and see if you want to finish coaching it out, or if you want to just fast forward the whole thing and move on to the next game. That option is there as well. Blazer Taz says, any chance you could recap the buttons on the left above defense? Yep, I'll go through them again. The first 2 are the timeout buttons. So the full hourglass icon is for the full timeout. The half one is for the 30-second timeout. The chat bubble type icon is to work the ref. Again, you're just sort of gently nudging him along there, and if I click that, it'll give you a response. The referee ignores me, so that's fine. The megaphone is the confront ref. That's basically you're going to let the ref have it. You have a high probability of ending up with a technical foul if you do that. But sometimes, in real life, coaches do that to see if they can change the momentum of the game, fire their players up, stuff like that. So that option is there. Obviously, if you get teed twice, you get booted and your assistant takes over. The basketball switches you to your offensive options where you've got your plays, as well as how fast you want to run, how much freedom you want to give them offensively, and how you want to play crashing the boards. That way you can determine if you want to just be a run and gun team, if you want to slow it down, if you want to force them to run plays every time. That's up to you there. Also, the buttons become active when you're on offense. Down there, the check boxes for full timeout or 30-second timeout if you score. Good for late game situations where you might want to set up a press or set up a foul, things like that. The defense, you see the intentional foul option there. The clipboard icon gives you the matchups so you can decide who's going to guard which player and if you want to double team them. The arrow icon here allows you to make your substitutions at a dead ball. And remember, if you have more than 12 players or so, you can scroll down here to find the rest of the players who are able to come in the game. And the last button gives you your strategy options when there's a timeout. There is a big momentum break there, so I'm going to take a timeout, and you can see taking that 30-second timeout lowered the momentum down. I have it with the options right now to turn off at pause at all stop, so that's why when I called timeout, it didn't really do anything or give me a chance to do anything. I'm just kind of letting the game run so you guys can see how it works. In the middle to on the bottom, you've got the scoreboard where the players' faces come up. I think that's cool because it kind of helps you recognize your players over time. And then, of course, it switches back to the game stats. As you can see, our defense is not doing very well at the moment. Durham is shooting 62% from the floor, and that is not a way to win any games. Doomjaw says, any plans to integrate a game mode that supports real-time marketplace? Doomjaw, you want to kind of elaborate on a real-time marketplace idea? I mean, if you're talking about things like the card collecting and stuff like that from kind of other games, we don't have any plans for that, and no plans for microtransactions or stuff like that. That's not really my thing right now. I know some people like it, and some people really don't like it because they feel that they paid so much for the game, and now they got to keep paying to keep doing more things and stuff like that. So that's not in our plans at the moment. There's a lot of games out there that do that already. And one thing I think that, especially with the big titles, that they've gone so far into that they've completely lost the part of the game that is like actually the franchise mode. And a lot of times we try to emphasize that we are all about franchise mode, and that's the point of our games. We want to give you that experience of playing the seasons out, the careers out. That is, somebody says, Seraphony, the cereal is the prize. And that's exactly that. The game is what it's meant to be. It's not, a distraction for you so that you can have other ways for us to collect money from you in the game. We've always believed in giving you, a really great franchise mode in a game at a pretty reasonable price, I think. And that's what we're here for. We're here to give you that value. and that's all that our focus is on right now. As we talk about things for the 24 games, because obviously college basketball 23 is the last in our 2023 lineup. So while I finish up development on this, we're always looking ahead. None of the things we're looking ahead for are talking about microtransactions or anything like that. Just about making the games better, making the experience better, the presentation better, and all that kind of stuff. President Cam12, first time chat, thank you for that. Says, what is the biggest you think the series can get? Are you looking at potential licensing with official leagues in the future? I mean, if we had the opportunity to do that with the leagues at a reasonable price, we would. But I don't think that that is in the near future. If the series blows up, who knows? But until then, we just keep grinding away and making, really good franchise games for our community, and hope that you guys will spread the word and that our community can continue to grow as it has over the years. It's been a slow, steady growth. We haven't really hit mainstream and anything like that. We did have one, and I always shout out, when I have the opportunity, to Kenny Beecham. He did a YouTube video on us on pro basketball a couple of years ago now, I think, and just the one video from him turned a whole bunch of new people onto the series. So if anybody is out there and they hear this and they're a streamer or anything like that, and you want to get involved in the game and make a video or something like that, by all means contact us. We're happy to have the exposure, happy to try to get new people into the game. Even something as simple as that one video, was huge for us. It made a big difference for us. So always shout out to Kenny Beecham for that. I think his handle on Twitter is KOT4Q, something like that. So, always appreciate that he did that. Just, totally on his own. He found the game, thought it was cool, did a video, and we had a lot of interest from that. And I know he's gotten even bigger since then. He's been on TV and all kinds of stuff. He does really, he's done a really good job building himself up and building his brand, and that's really cool that he was able to accomplish that. Blazers has their team will be playing a lot this weekend as work interferes tomorrow. It's always that pesky work. Don't they know that Factory Sports College Basketball 2023 is out in first access? They should be giving you some time off for that. Blazers has. Call your work. I'll call him for him. Okay? No, I won't really. But certainly appreciate that you'll be playing a lot this weekend. I know as we kind of get into the launch, we always have a group of people that want to get in early, and then there's a group that wants to wait for the launch. And, launch also on Steam. We're hoping that the Steam approval will come through for the 10th as well. Otherwise, we'll release it on Steam as soon as possible. But I know some people are always waiting for the Steam release. But definitely, I know one thing for me, the NCAA tournament was always a national holiday for me. I would put in for vacation day for the start of it. And, what better way to have like an entire weekend of college basketball than mixing that with college basketball 2023 and just like total college basketball for like 4 straight days. That'd be awesome. As you can see in our game here, we're coming down to the final 5 minutes of the first half, and as expected, we're getting worked over pretty good here. But it's fine. I'm not even really coaching. I'm just kind of letting the AI handle all my stuff for right now as I kind of talk and hang out with you guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by here. Again, don't forget, if you're new to the stream here, it came in late, WolverineStudios.com. You can purchase your pre-order for College Basketball 2023 right now. If you use code COLLEGE, you'll get 10% off as a pre-order discount, and that is good through March 9th, as March 10th will be kind of the final release point, and then there'll be updates and things like that after that. Also, if you are a guy who wants to, or gal who wants to play with the modded universe, NCAA Hoops is a community member, and I believe he has his mod already up and available on our forum. So if you don't know how to get to our forums, just go to our website, click the drop down on the under community link, and the forums are there, as well as links to our Slack and Discord and Reddit and all that kind of good stuff. So we're everywhere, and you can find us at any of those places. President Cam12 asks, are there any plans to create a 3D match engine similar to Football Manager? I mean, I would love to. That's it's probably not something that's going to happen either anytime soon or until or unless we got bigger. Obviously, SI Games is a fantastic organization. I've been lucky enough to be able to talk with some of the people from SI over the years. They've given me some really good advice, for building Wolverine Studios and running the company. They're a huge company. They have many employees. They have far more resources than we do, so they can kind of put that together. I think for us and our small operation, the 3D is probably not in the in the plans, at least right now. But who knows? Never you never say never. And he also asks, do we look at other manager games for inspirations on things to add to our games? To be honest, we don't, only because we spend so much time developing our games. The one downside to developing the games, for me at least, is that I don't get a chance to play them that often. And every year I say, oh, I'm really gonna play this year and stuff like that. But you spend so much time developing and then doing the marketing and kind of running the business and stuff like that, that I usually don't even get enough time to play my own games, let alone what's out there. Obviously, we keep track of what SI Games is doing, what Out of the Park is doing, because they're the leaders. They've done it. They've done the best at it. Football Manager is for anybody who's in this genre, is the gold standard. I mean, that's everybody. Even with Out of the Park, they always said, "Can't you do this more like Football Manager?" And we get a lot of that. For our games, can't you do such and such like Football Manager does? So we do get feedback from other people who say, Football Manager does this, Out of the Park does this. Can you do that? So when we hear that, we sometimes we'll take a look and say, okay, how are they doing this? What are they doing? Stuff like that. How can that sort of thing apply to us? But it's not like something where, I wouldn't even know how to play Football Manager because I'm not a soccer fan. I wouldn't know anything that I'm looking at or looking for. But I do certainly appreciate and respect what they've built with that. It's really been incredible, and it kind of it does give me hope and stuff like that we can continue to make Wolverine Studios grow, and because I know there's this huge amount of people out there that like these kind of games and don't even know probably that we exist, because they know SI Games. A lot of them probably know Out of the Park, but they might not know us. So any chance we get to try to introduce ourselves to those audiences, I gladly take that opportunity, and we ask our community to kind of help us out with that too. If you're in those spaces, or you have friends who are in those spaces, and you can introduce them to our games, or even if they, I see threads sometimes on Twitter that say oh, I wish there was a Football Manager type game for basketball, and I want to be in big flashing letters, we're here, come check this out. So if you're in those spaces and you see that as an opportunity to introduce us to somebody else, please do go for it. And President Cam says he thanks to me for answering the questions. That's what we're here for. That's why we do this Developer Dynasty, as an opportunity to kind of hang out with you guys and chat. And so we are down 19 points here. Let's pause this for a second, and we'll fast forward a little bit. And as you'll be able to see, the fast forward will really move it ahead quite quickly, and things, as expected, are going not so good. Didn't expect that we would win this game or even come close to it, being an unranked team playing the number 3 team in the country. I'll kind of wind it down to the last 5 minutes or so. And then when you unpause it and go back to playing, everybody kind of just picks up as to wherever they should be. The one thing I've always wondered sometimes about other games is if you're simming, or if you're, if the action's not on the screen, is it really doing anything, or is it just making up a result? If you fast forward here, or you sim or whatever, it's going through all the same paces, all the same checks, all the same code, stuff like that. So it's a true result. You're getting the actual result that's going on, and we're getting blown out by 20 points. So we will lose this game, but no biggie. President Cam asks how many employees, developers, are at our studio. There is just 2 main developers, really. Myself on the basketball game, and Brooks on the football games. Brooks does have assistants from Asger. He works on sections of the football games, and he's been a big help. And of course, we collaborate with each other. So that's why there's, in the design of the games, I designed the interfaces for all of the games so that they all look and feel similar. So that if you're a basketball fan and you say, hey, I really like this game, let me try the football game. There's differences, obviously, between the games because it's different developers, but there's the same kind of feeling. You kind of know where to go for things. You know how to get to the games. You know where the roster screen is going to be. All that kind of stuff. It's all kind of the same, the same feel between all the games, so that you can try something new and not feel like it's a totally new game. But obviously, from a development standpoint, Brooks has his code and stuff like that. I have mine for the basketball games, and we've kind of find things that work well, and we try them individually in our games, and when they are really well received, I can help him implement them in his games. He can help me implement them in my games. So we do have that relationship and that ability. And I think that's really helped all of the games grow and be better, because we find something works really well in one of the games, and then naturally the customers in our community says, well, hey, I really like this in football. Can we have this in basketball? And then we can implement it. So it's good that we have the different sets of code and kind of work on different things, because that way we can find out what really works well and implement them in both games. We are under 2 minutes to go here. We're playing out the last minutes here. I have not seen us get one turnover off of the press, which, again, not totally unexpected. One, playing a good team. Two, when I take over a team, typically I'm implementing my system. So it's always rough at the start because players aren't proficient in the things I want to do often, and maybe don't even have the right players for it. But I still always feel it's important to do the time and the practice and the implementation of what I'm eventually going to do, because I find that it makes my teams better in the long run. And we have kind of that learning curve, but then when we have players who are good with the system, I usually find we can be successful. Bill Dozer says he coached my first game and won 86-80. Quicks in the second game, losing 102-107. Both went to overtime at home, so there's some evidence that there's not much difference in playing method. The code is exactly the same, whether you sim or play. The only difference is obviously if you're coaching the game, you have the opportunity to use your, use your brain and use your intuition and stuff like that to make adjustments that the AI coach might not make while coaching for you during the sim. So if you see a guy, playing really well, maybe he's, outperforming what he would normally do for that game. If you're not coaching, it's going to go to your sub matrix and it's going to say, okay, it's time to, you set that it's time to take this guy out and I'll take him out. Whereas if you're coaching the game, you might normally take him out at that time, but you might let him, roll because you're seeing he's playing really well. So there is that, that evidence that coaching yourself can make the difference because you can make those adjustments. Whereas the AI might do it on its own for its own teams, but it's not going to override what your instructions were for yourself, if that makes sense. That's the end of the game. We lost 98-70. You're not going to win many games giving up 98 points if you're a not very good team. So we will click the play button to go to the final screen where you can check out the game stats. You can check out the points in the paint, second chance points, fast break points, and unsurprisingly, Billy Thorne, their best player, was the player of the game with 21, 6, and 3. So we are knocked out of the Coaches Classic tournament. Not a big surprise. You can also always, if you change the games grid option here, you can check out the other tournaments. Well, as you can see, we were the 15th seed in that tournament, not expected to go very, anywhere anyways. And it looks like all the top seeds won in there. And you can also check out all the other tournaments and who's going to be in them. And eventually, once the tournament is finished, you can always go back and look and see who won. So that is going to do it, I think, for tonight. I really appreciate the chat. I really like when we do these things and I have questions to answer and can talk to the community kind of while I'm going through things or talking about whatever it is we're going to cover that night. It's a nice opportunity for me to have a one-on-one with some of you guys. So I appreciate you guys coming to the stream tonight. Thank you everybody again for following us. Anybody who subscribes to the channel, make sure you're following our YouTube channel as well, because we try to put the replays on there, as well as working on creating some new content for the YouTube channel as well. And as I said, if you don't have a copy already, get to WolverineStudios.com right now. Grab your pre-order copy of College Basketball 2023. Use coupon code COLLEGE at checkout. Save that 10%. That is good through the 9th. The final release will be on the 10th, and then updates after that. So thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Make sure that if you do have comments or things, you use our forums right now for first access. We have a special forum set up for first access. So if you have questions, comments, feedback, and again, it is beta builds that people are playing right now, so you might run across an error or bug or something. So feel free to post it there, and we'll check it out and and make sure it gets cleaned up and fixed. But other than that, thanks for coming out tonight. We will talk to everybody soon. Have a great rest of your week, and let's enjoy some college basketball. It is March. Let's celebrate, and let's get ready for the big tournament and the big dance. See everybody soon. Take care.